going through YouTube, found a interesting wide video on the world's best whistler, Mr. Lomax. That's not his surname, that's his first name, but I don't remember his surname. Anyway, that triggered a memory of mine that I had, false or true, when during school, I think one time I was really happy or something, and I started whistling. And again, this could be a false memory, but because it could be not just the whistling, it could be something else, maybe humming or singing or speaking out of turn or whatever. Anyway, let's go with whistling. So I was in class whistling, and the teacher said, "Don't whistle." So, with it being your teacher, and me being taught from a young age to that, you need that to obey that dynamic of teacher student dynamic, I stopped whistling. But then, either the same day or the next day or another occasion, there was someone else in class that was whistling, and the teacher didn't say anything to this person, to my classmate. I think I remember thinking back then that that was unfair, that was favoritism, that was strange. And now, reeling it back to present day, what kind of lesson can I draw from that is really the fact that someone supposedly superior to you is telling you to not do something, and the same person, same level of person, is doing the same thing, but that superior quote unquote person doesn't say the same thing to that person, shows to me that there was a slight favoritism there. So what am I trying to drive forward now? And that is that probably you were told growing up either that you could do something or you couldn't do something. And looking back, the majority of times I was told that I couldn't do something. And then when I achieved what people said that I couldn't do, they asked me how did I do it. So now I know, with more facts and having read books and having more life experience, that people that tell you that you can't do something or not to do something, in this case, don't whistle, again, case by case, they have the mentality for themselves that they can't do it or they aren't able to do it. And showing the favoritism is that they perhaps believe in that person more, and that person needs to have that little bit more freedom. So moving forward, what can you do about this? I guess you can look back in your history and try and recount all those times that you were told not to do something or that you can't do something, and really try and analyze the situation as to whether that was appropriate. I mean, for example, you're talking loudly in a movie theater and someone tells you not to talk loudly. That's appropriate. So you shut up, right? But things like you can't play basketball or you can't whistle because it bothers other people. When on another occasion, this same teacher didn't tell this other student to stop whistling, but only told me. So I guess at the time I kind of took it personally, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want any kind of confrontation. So moving forward, know that people will have favorites. People will think that they are treating people equally, but in actuality, that may not be the case. And you as a person, with that knowledge, just bite your lip and move on. Because ultimately, you can do whatever it is you can do. And no matter what anyone says, it's up to you yourself to try. And if try isn't part of your vocabulary, then it's up to you to do, right? So, having said all of that, reflect back on your life journey and think back to the times where people doubted you, but you still came out on top, and try and focus as to why you decided not to listen to those people. It's probably because you knew that deep down in your heart that you could do this, but this particular thing. And it's good that some people were encouraged their whole life because they feed off the encouragement. And on the flip side, some people have not been encouraged as much or been discouraged the majority of their life. That's why they feel this void. So personally, whenever I get a compliment, I don't really know how to treat it, because probably in that situation they're being kind, but because they just want to get to know me better, or they want to just take the class. So if you have been discouraged your whole life and you are skeptical of people, just know that that person that discouraged you probably has low self-esteem as well, or was having a bad day. If you notice that the same advice, quote unquote advice, wasn't given to someone at your same level on a different occasion, so that person was playing favorites. Conclusion to the video is, whatever fuel you need to add to the fire to complete your task, you can draw from things in your past to say to yourself, hey, this is what happened, but what happened. I'm going to build on it. What was said to me was unfounded. It was merely a comment, and for that part of my life, it probably ruled how I lived and thought. But now I'm more mature. I can see which way around is it? I can see the tree for the woods. Yeah, I can see the tree for the woods. Because the popular phrase is someone that can't see the wood for the trees. Oh, okay. So I'm using the wrong phrase, because apparently this means that they are very involved in the details of something, so they don't notice what's important. But then again, I guess too concerned about what people think about you, which is pretty much nearly all the millennials that exist now. They're too concerned about how they're perceived, where I say that majority of millennials would rather look good and lose than look bad and win. to them, image and non-progression is better than no image and progression. So that's enough for me today. 10 minutes talking about this, but you know, reflect back on your past where someone's challenged you to say stop doing something or don't do something or you can't do something, and really, really deep down, you're gonna know the answer that 99.9% of the time that was just untrue. That anything is possible. Peace.